I think I need a bigger book than this. I can see this. Maybe can. Thank you. Here. 21. Okay. Please repeat after me.
Yes.
Veda vinasinam nityam. Ya enam ajam abhyayam. Katham sa purusha partha. Kam ghatayati hantikam. Translation. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Text 22. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya. Navani grihnati naroparani. Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani. Anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. I think anybody can relate to this. We'll first read all the translations and then we'll go back to the book. Text 23. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Nainam dahati pavakaha. Na chainam kledayanti apo. Na shoshayati marutaha. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Achedyoyam adayoyam. Akledya asosya evacha. Nitya sarvagata sthanu. Achaloyam sanatanaha. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally. Abhyaktoyam achintyayom. Avikaryoyam uchyate. Tasmad evam viditvainam. Nanu sochitum arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. So these are the 5 verses all about the soul. Krishna is talking to Arjuna. So what the first one is saying? The soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable. And he's saying that how, when you are killing somebody, how are you killing? Or how are you becoming the cause of that killing? Because soul is never getting destroyed. So you're not killing people. Right? So he's saying that in the purport, we can read the purport, maybe one person. Hema, you want to read the purport?
21. Everything has its proper utility. And
You can take the mic.
Hello. Everything has its proper utility. And a man who is situated in the complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility. And how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed, because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, It is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice. And thus, Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for justice is not violence at all, because at any rate, the man or the rather the soul cannot be killed. So, for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction.
So this is what Krishna is saying to Arjun to answer Arjun's argument about, he was saying that I will incur sin if I kill the people, right? So that's what Krishna is answering, that everybody, everything has a cause. And as it is saying about the utility, right? Like the knife. A knife, if somebody takes on the street and utilizes it to kill somebody unnecessarily, then that person should be punished. But if the knife is used by a doctor to do a surgical operation, then that is to save that person, right? So that person, that doctor gets rewarded, right? So you can see the two different things. So everything has its utility, and how it is utilized, that is important. For what purpose it is being utilized. So that's what Krishna is trying to make him understand, that you are not going to get sin because you are going to fight or kill people to abolish the unrighteousness, right? Because Krishna tried all his best, right? Throughout the life, he tried to protect the Pandavas as well as to teach the Kauravas, right? So that they might get better in many instances, but never it happened. He became a peace messenger also. That okay, they don't want the whole kingdom or half the kingdom. They want just 5 villages. Even not 5 villages, you just give in one village 5 different areas, that much also. They'll be happy. But still, Duryodhan was so adamant that he just wanted to. He said, I cannot give. What did Duryodhan say? Who knows that? Mahabharata story. Yeah, I won't give a land which covers the tip of a needle. Like that much of arrogant he was, right? But was their right to get the half of the kingdom. But he didn't. So then also and still Krishna was quiet. But he wanted to arrest Krishna, right? Which is the last thing Krishna could not tolerate anymore. He said, no, these people cannot be rectified anymore. They need to be punished. So that is why he's trying to convince Arjun that going to the basic, that you are not killing anybody. The soul is indestructible. Soul is always eternal. So you're not going to kill anybody if you're killing them. Any other reflections in this verse? Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
Like one more point which comes to mind is like through authority you should be able to do these things, like what you gave that example. Like if a soldier or if a doctor is doing, he's having the profession, he's having an authority, he's got that medical certificate that he can do that surgery. So that is how he is now authorized person to do that. So here Krishna is that authorized person who is saying Arjuna. But some people may take it in other way and not take an advantage of that thing. That's what I remember.
Very nice reflection. Yeah. Like you should know, like somebody should guide you or somebody should tell you what is wrong and what is right. And because Arjun asked him to give him the knowledge, then Krishna is giving this now. Anything else?
What do you exactly mean that you're not killing a person because soul is eternal and you're not actually killing a person? So how does that apply to, like, can I just go kill somebody and say that, oh, I'm not killing you, your soul is alive? How does that apply?
Yes, that's what we are discussing here. Like, for example, take a soldier, okay? A soldier, you can switch that. A soldier's duty is to fight for the country, right? So the soldier is on the border or anywhere, a policeman, right? They have to protect the citizen. So if a policeman kills a criminal on right at the spot of the crime, that's not a crime for the policeman, right? The police gets rewarded. But if the policeman is in a civilian dress out of duty in his own time, he's just relaxing and going somewhere because he has gun with him, he's shooting somebody, then that's a punishment. So even though it is the soul is not being killed in either cases, right? But what the purpose behind it, behind the killing.
So in this context, it's okay because you're fighting for your rights.
Yes. It's not for their rights because Arjun didn't want to fight for their rights because he wanted to just go begging, stay in the forest, right? He wanted to give up. He didn't want to kill anybody. He was so much of forgiving. You can see another extreme of Arjun, right? A saintly person. You can forgive anybody. But it is about establishing the righteousness. But it was not just for their rights. That's what Krishna is trying to tell him. It's not just for you. It's your not personal choice right now. Because you are a king, it's your duty is to protect others. So it's not that, your personal choice, you can leave the battlefield and go. But because you are a Kshatriya, your duty is to protect others. So to establish that righteous rulers, we have to do this. So that's not. Does it make sense? Anything else? Yes.
This means that one has to follow the the rule of the land. On a higher level.
Yeah, the rule of the Lord, as you said, the law of God.
The law,
right?
The law of the
Yes. Yes. Mike.
So in one of the previous purports, there was mentioned that Krishna compares the killing of the Kauravas to how a garden attempts to remove the weeds so that the garden is maintained. So killing the weed is not violence against the plants, it's to maintain the garden. So similarly, here is giving the suggestion to Arjuna in this way. That these are the weeds, they are harmful to the garden, so clean them up.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Like the weeds are destroyed when the crop is to grow properly, right? That's what we say. So in the same way, we have to destroy the unwanted weeds in the society. And who are the aggressors? Basically, the 6 kinds of aggressors are mentioned in the first chapter. Who remembers the 6 kinds of aggression? Yes.
One answers the land of
Mike.
It's okay, Mataji. Who takes one's land, who tries to steal others' property and trying to burn them, trying to kill them, giving poison or something like that, and stealing one's wife also comes. Yeah, like 1 to 5.
Fine, one more.
Killing child,
No.
women.
Yeah, she told that.
Okay.
Killing wealth also is coming.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah,
means-
property.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snatching the property. Yes, that's right. So those kind of aggressors should be punished. That's what, as per our law book of the Vedic scriptures. Okay. So should we go to the next one? So next one, Krishna is saying that how we, put some new garments and reject the old ones, right? In the same way, a soul, leaves the old body and takes a new one. Because body is like a machine, right? We know that. When we go to the age, we know very well. Like now I'm getting it, how the body is supporting or not supporting. Because body is like a machine and we have to, go by the time it gets deteriorated, like the other machines, right? They have to have the maintenance. So we have to maintain the body definitely. But why? For the service of Krishna. Because we have got this human body, which is a very rare birth. And when we get a human body, if we don't utilize in Krishna's service, then we are utilizing it in a wrong way, right? So, and we know that we have very less amount of time because we have to change this body to get a new body. It is not going to stay forever. The body has to change. Like, who can remember your, the early childhood, how you are looking, or when you look at the pictures, how much difference you can find, right? It's so much of difference. So we know that our body is changing. Like it is said that every 7 years or so, completely all the cells are changed, right? All the new cells. So your body completely changes. So it is changing every time, right? With the time, we are changing our bodies. But so why we should worry? That's what Krishna is saying. When how you are just changing and getting a new garment and giving up the old ones. In the same way, the soul is getting new bodies. Then what to worry about? So it's saying that Anyani Samyati Navani Dahi means it takes a new body. We can read the purport. It's a little big one. If everybody is okay, we can read it. Okay? Yes. Who has the mic? Grishma, you want to read? Okay, or somebody else can read until then. The purport. Maybe you can read 2 paragraphs.
Hare Krishna. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in previous verse 2.13. Transfers of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad, as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to 2 friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these 2 friends, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is witnessing the bird and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and Shvetashvatara Upanishad confirm this. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno nisaya shochati muhyamana justam yada pashyate anvai isham asya mahimanam iti vita shokah. Although the 2 birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or the other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily changes of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation.
Thank you. So this is such a beautiful purport Prabhupada has written, that how we know that changing of the body, everybody is experiencing. Everybody agrees to that. And what he's saying, in the body, who are there? So if you take the body as a tree, then there are two personalities sitting. One is the soul and the other is the super soul. So two birds sitting in a tree. And one is Krishna, one is me. And what is me? I'm just enjoying the fruits of the tree. Whatever actions I'm doing, I'm enjoying or suffering the fruits of it, right? But what Krishna is doing, Krishna is just witnessing and waiting to look towards him, for us to look towards him. So when we are just, like suppose a bird is eating all the fruits or the berries and, enjoying in the tree, but the other bird is just watching this bird, what this bird is doing, right? And not interfering at all. And what it is waiting for, why that bird is still sitting there if it is not doing anything? Why the super soul is still within us, like within the body?
It's waiting that any minute if that bird will look at me.
Yeah, anytime, like then he's ready to help all the time, because he is our supreme father and we are all part and parcel of him. He's always, eager to protect us, to help us, to support us. But we are the one who are not looking towards him, right? We are just looking to the front and doing our things. But that's how he's giving us this problem, so that at some point of time, at least we will realize. But still we don't realize, right? It just goes on and on and on. Still we don't realize, until some people realize when they suffer, but some people still they do not realize. There's so much in the mode of ignorance, right? So like you can relate, whoever had children here, they can relate this example very well, right? You see at your home when your children are just playing around, you're just watching them, right? You're not doing much. They are just playing. But when they get hurt or they have some problem, they'll come running towards. Until then, they don't care for you. When they are happy, right? Everything is going on fine. So like that, many people are like that. Most of the world is like that, who believes in God, that okay, they're fine. But only the problem comes, they look towards God. But what we should do, we should always be looking towards him, either in happiness or in suffering, right? Because he's always with us. Nobody will be with us all the time, right? Our parents will go away, our siblings will go away, our friends will go away, our spouses will go away, our children will go away. Who will be there all the time is the super soul, Krishna, right? Like there is a story Prabhupada used to say that, one devotee who was always, he knew that, Krishna is protecting all the time. And sometimes he could not feel that. Like, yeah, Krishna shows him the footpath, the footprints. See, I'm always there with you. Like there are two sets of footprints all the time. But after some time, the footprints are not there. Then he said, where were you then? When I was suffering, you were not there. See, the footprints are not there. Your footprints are not there. It's only one set of footprints. Then Krishna says, that set of footprints is mine. Because when you were suffering, I caught hold of you. I was holding you on my hands, picking you up. So that much Krishna loves. Because, of course, how parents love the children the same way, right? So we have to hear Prabhupada is saying that, we have to just turn back toward him. And again, he's saying, why Krishna is saying this to Arjun, that Arjun was thinking about his grandfather and his teacher or his cousins, right? At least he was thinking about Dronacharya and Bhisma, who was his teacher and grandfather, who has given him so much in the life. But still they supported the unrighteousness, right? They still supported during the gambling. They just kept quiet when Draupadi was disrobed. So that means they should be punished. And Krishna is saying, this is the arena, they should be punished. If you don't punish them right now, if you don't kill them right now, they will suffer more. They'll suffer later on. So we have to, if somebody doing some sinful activities, the reaction should come immediately. So that's how the punishment is there in our law books, right? like what kind of crime and what kind of punishment. It is already written. And it is by the, what is it called? By the level of the crime, right? As per this level. And even in Manu Samhita, it is written, a Brahmana does some kind of crime, how much that is, how much crime it is, what percentage. And if a Shudra does that, it is nullified, it's 0. Because a Brahmana is much more intelligent than the lower class, right? So if they do a crime, it is much higher nature. So the punishment should be higher than a Shudra, because Shudra is in mood of ignorance. So basically, it's by the level, by the person, everything is written down. And why it is? For the benefit of the person who is doing the crime, right? So that's the benefit. That benefits them. That's what here in the purport group by the writing. If Arjun kills them, then they are nullified of their sinful reactions. They got the punishment and they are done. They're not going to suffer in the next life. But if you don't punish them right now, they're going to suffer in the next life. There's another story I remember. It's a real story. A few years back, there was a beggar in front of Jagannath Puri temple. There are a lot of beggars you can see, right, in India, in front of the temple. So in front of Jagannath Puri temple, there was a beggar. And there was a retired Supreme Court judge. He was coming out of the temple, having darshan of the deities. And he calls me, hey, Mr. Mishra, please come, please come. I was like, how do you know my name? You're just a beggar. He went and talked to him. He said, do you remember, you might not remember me, but I remember you. I was a criminal on your court when you were the High Court judge. And you took side of the lawyer was so good in convincing you that I am not the criminal. You released me from jail. You didn't punish me. But now, I was released from your court, but I was never released from God's court. And he was like completely handicapped. He had some disease and all that. And he was sitting as a beggar. And he's realizing his sinful, action, what he did. So that judge later on, he told that in a speech, in a big speech, he revealed that, how God is much superior than he himself is the court judge. So we have to remember that. We think that we are fine at this moment, even though I do, like people say, right? Why do bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people? And we should know that it is by their previous karma, the bad people are getting good things now. But if they are not utilizing that good things to go to the next step, they'll get their karma later on, right? And good people also, they are burning away their sinful reactions so that they will not be getting another birth. So we have to remember that why we get either suffering or happiness, even though we are not qualified or we are qualified, right? Anything? Yes, Purva.
I have a question. So we all know that like when there were people who saw Draupadi being disrobed, they were all guilty, didn't do anything. So if I relate to it in today's world, we see a lot of things happening in front of us, right? What's your guidance? What should we do? Every time, like if sometimes I speak up and call out, but then it bites me back that, oh, why did I open my mouth? It's like, why did I call out that someone is doing like that? You should mind your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, that's what I think people can.
Yeah, but the or like online going on, it is. No, because it's the live only. That's why. For the online audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to understand at what point we should actually speak up against wrongdoings and at what point we should just leave it up to Krishna. So like which battles to pick, which battles to leave it up to Krishna?
Yes, very good question. So for this, Vaisheshika Prabhu says we have two circles. One is a circle of influence and what is beyond the circle of influence. So within the circle of influence, you can have the influence. Like suppose in your family or among friends or in your neighborhood, right? Or you are in a position in the city or in the state. So wherever you are, your influence is there, then definitely you should speak up and you should try to correct it or try to modify it or try to make it better. But if it is not in your circle of influence, like suppose the war happening right now, countries, we cannot, right? We don't have, that's not within our circle of. So what we have to do is we cannot keep quiet, definitely. We should, every citizen has a responsibility to do something, right? So that's why we are distributing this Bhagavad Gita, or that's why we are sitting here. That if we give this knowledge to others, at least people will have the idea, those who are in ignorance completely. So one thing is we can definitely pray for everyone. And second thing is, as much as possible, if we share this knowledge with others, then at least certain percentage of the society will get benefit and they'll get better. So that's what we should do in a larger scale. Does that make sense? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So the point that you mentioned about the beggar who got released immediately, but later punished by the god, right? So there is a saying in our language, Arasan Andruvalvan, Devam Nindruvallu. What that means is the king, if you are doing wrongdoing, then the king punishes immediately. It is a justice system, will take care of that, immediately will punish you. But whereas the god will do it, Krishna is watching you from there, and he will punish even if the king releases or the justice system releases.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the point, and just wanted to.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Because everything has its, the reaction comes by the time. Like suppose you are putting a seed of cilantro. It comes, what is it called? The sprout comes in a couple of days or 1 week, right? But if you put, and you get the cilantro leaves and even the coriander seed, like the fruit comes up, right? Immediately within a month, you can see the fruits. But if you put a mango tree or a guava tree or an avocado tree, how long it takes? It takes longer, right? Or even the paddy, the rice, it comes in few months and then it goes away. So in the same way, like how every seed has its own fructification time, in the same way, our every action has its fructification time as per the action. So what you said is, Krishna's time is different, right, than our time. So accordingly, we get the reaction as per our actions. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
In justice system, in one of the contexts, somebody asked Prabhupada about a lot of injustice that happens in society. And he said the way this justice system is being set up in modern societies is you only know about the crime in this lifetime committed by that person and the reactions that they get and the justice delivered, right? It's like, you know about a case, half the story, and somebody is asked to, okay, give the justice based on this. That's what is happening with the current justice system. Then you see that seemingly it appears a lot of injustice is being done. But that doesn't happen in Krishna's eyes. He sees all the history of the person that has done through many lifetimes, and then he delivers justice.
Yes.
So that's why he sees that sometimes we can't reason how some people get away with crimes, because we're only seeing a part of the story.
Yes, exactly. Because he is the Sarvagya, as he is Antaryami, right? He is with us in all the lifetimes. So he has witnessed everything. So that's how he can see all the background and acts accordingly, gives the judgment of himself. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice point. Anything else? Surikun Prabhu, you want to?
I just would like to comment on Mataji's side as should we stay quiet or should we speak up? And Mataji, as she did explain, if you can make a change, if you can have an influence, speak up. But then everyone has its own nature also. Like someone is more has a Brahminical nature, someone is Kshatriya nature. you probably fall in the category of a Kshatriya, so who would not tolerate any injustice. I mean, in Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita that nature is not by birth, it's by your karma. Right? You can be a Kshatriya born of a Brahmana or a Shudra, and likewise fall into other category. So yeah, it is right to speak up, but only to the extent where your right is not crossing that limit as well, because then we might kind of step into some other territory and probably instead of getting the justice for other, we also fall into the problems that you did mention. Sometimes it just bites them. So yeah, that's kind of I mean that's what we learn from Bhagavad Gita, how to control your emotions. That's one of the biggest lessons in Bhagavad Gita, is not kind of getting carried out and how to control your senses.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, by the nature, and definitely that intrinsic nature of ours we can utilize in with proper Krishna's instruction, and we can act. Okay, should we go to the next one? Anything else? Okay. So the next one, Krishna is saying that the soul is invisible. Has anyone seen the soul? What's the size of the soul? Who remembers?
1,000 parts. 10,000 parts.
110,000 parts. Yes, of the tip of the hair. So somebody has a thick hair, they would have a thicker. So not like that. Like hair is kind of a comparison given how thin it is. So if you cut it into 10,000 parts, it's like none of the nanoscope also can see it right now, right? So it is invisible, but still the existence is there. How we can feel it? How we can feel that soul is there if we cannot see it? Because seeing is believing, right?
Only consciousness.
Yeah. The consciousness, by the consciousness only we can know that soul is there. And also it is inconceivable, achintya, right? We cannot conceive, because we cannot describe, we cannot see, we cannot measure, nothing. So it is inconceivable, as well as it is immutable, right? It's not mutable. We cannot think of it. And that's why he's saying, knowing this, why you should grieve for the body. The body is anyway temporary. Body is going to destroy, right? Anything material is going to destroy. Then why should we grieve for that? Like, and again, it goes by the level of your consciousness, right? Like when we were small, we were so attached to our toys or whatever we liked, right? We grieve for that if we lose it. But now, do you feel the same? No, right? But when your kids feel the same. So we can know that, like the grieving is different level as per the consciousness, right? As per our nature or intelligence, whatever. So that's why Krishna is trying to explain Arjun why you should grieve, which is temporary, right? Like we should not grieve at all. Like like a sand castle the children make and then break it. So they are not really, because they know it's not going to stay, right? So they're not grieving for it at all, right? So for that time they're getting attached, but they're getting detached because they know that it's going to break, or they break and make something else. So in the same way, Krishna is saying here that why you should grieve for the body when nothing is, it is not permanent, it's temporary. So we should not grieve anything. So here in the purport, he's saying that there are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence of his father based upon the authority of his mother. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge, right? Because we cannot get it by the experiments. We cannot know. Still, they have done experiments, right? They have put an ant inside a complete airtight thing. And when the soul is gone, that has broken like a glass thing, because the soul has come out of it. So they have done certain kind of experiment, but still, because they cannot see the soul, they cannot really answer anything, right? They're still researching on it, but you cannot get it. Like if somebody goes and asks the whole world, who is my father? Nobody can tell other than the mother. Only mother knows who is the father. In the same way, you go out researching, go on researching and go around the world searching for this to know that whether really soul exists or not, you cannot get the answer. But if you get directly from the Vedic scriptures, which is the Veda is like the source, right? That's what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is the father, so he can give us the answer about what is the soul, or where is the soul, or what's the nature of the soul. Then he's saying that it will be, however, sorry, I went to the last one. Okay, he's saying the individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, can be neither burned nor dried, is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So how can we think that soul is eternally the same? Because all of us are changing everything. How can we realize that soul is still the same? Can you experience yourself, or have you ever experienced? The soul is still the same within your body, even though your body has changed, you have grown up and all that.
Consciousness is same. We are reacting, doing all things through the body. Though even it's a baby, he's crying, he's expressing emotions. Even if we are adults growing up, even get old, we show out all these emotions. So consciousness is there. We are moving and doing things.
Yes.
And that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Anything else?
As we are aging, our consciousness or the soul, the feeling is also kind of, the thought process is also getting aged, mature. With all the learnings.
Somewhere the mic.
Yeah, with all the learnings, our thought process is also makes good judgment. It's also progressive along with how you are aging.
Yeah.
That's why.
Then how the soul is not changing? If then the soul is changing. If you are changing your consciousness or progressiveness.
So that means the soul is changing, right?
That's what I'm asking. Krishna is saying here soul is unchangeable. So how can we realize that Krishna is unchangeable? Like we are unchangeable.
The eternal behavior of the soul, where it may forget it, like the remembrance may not be there in the body, that is where the soul is residing. But when it is awakened, whether it is a small kid who may come to Krishna consciousness, the same you can be the 80-year-old person into Krishna consciousness, because the soul, it is considered the timeline of the same person who is a small kid. You can bring the person to Krishna consciousness when he is a small kid. If he is 80 years old, then also it's possible that the person can be brought to consciousness, because the quality of the soul is not changing. So that's one proof we can establish that whenever the person comes in contact with Krishna consciousness, they are able to come at any point in the lifetime, or maybe the next lifetime. So it doesn't matter whether they're in this life, that certain body they got and all. So that's one proof that it doesn't really change. They can always identify the real identity.
Yes.
Other one is 2.13 he's telling Kaumaram, Yavanam, Jaram, the same soul is existing in all these three phases. So it's unchanged.
Yeah.
Only body is changing.
Yeah, the body is changing. But the soul is there as your consciousness is there, but we cannot, still we remember, because the soul has, the memory is there with the soul, right? Our subtle body is there, the mind, intelligence, and ego, and our memory is there. Like you might remember, like for me, I think the way is like whatever I had my likings in my childhood is still the same. Those things never change. It's always the same. It never, whatever you like it is like the soul's liking is there, So it is, even the body has changed, even the place has changed, even your circumstance, all the situation have changed, family situation, still that inner core thing would be there, right? Because the soul is there with you, right? So that's how everything else changes, but the soul. But whatever you said is correct. Whatever Prabhu said is correct. Whatever Prabhu said the other way, that is also correct. That it is. It is changing all over, but the soul is always eternal. It's Satchit Ananda. It's full of eternity, means it is always eternal. It is full of knowledge. How we can just grasp everything, right? Because the knowledge is there. And also it's full of bliss. It's always blissful. But because of this material body, by the contact with the material nature, we are not staying blissful all the time, right? But when you be in Krishna conscious or in Krishna consciousness, or chant or learn about Krishna, you become blissful automatically, right? Or with devotees, because all the devotees are related to Krishna. Then the bliss comes, real bliss. But that is the nature of the soul actually. Eternity, blissful and knowledge, full of eternity, blissful knowledge. So, and that never changes. And then he's saying that it can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind. Nothing can do anything to it, right? It's so amazing. Like everything else can be done with all these things, right? By fire or by, and then the Purport Book writes about different weapons, how a fire weapon can be cut by the water weapon, or now the nuclear weapon. But the current modern world, they don't know about many of the weapons. Actually, that's what he's writing. But soul cannot be affected by any of these. Even the water cannot touch it, or wind cannot touch it. Also, it is unbreakable and insoluble. Like soluble is you mix water with salt or sugar, it gets soluble, right? It's soluble. But soul, we cannot mix with anything to make it soluble. It is always its individual there. And it cannot be burned or dried. And it's present everywhere. Like everywhere you can see the soul, right? In every living entity there is a soul. And it's all pervading and immovable and eternally the same. That's what we talked about, unchangeable. And there is in this Purport Prabhupada gives the example of so if soul is everywhere, how about the soul is in the sun planet? Are the souls there in the sun planet? Because our scientists say that nobody can exist in the sun's, that much of fire. But there are souls, because souls are everywhere, it is mentioned here, right? So in the sun planet also souls are there. So they get the body which is suitable for that particular planet. Moon planet has also, right? It is there. But how many they send? The Chandrayaan-3 also, they could not get to know anything. We don't know what happened to it at the end of it, right? So no scientist, or by the experiments we cannot reach. There is a book by Srila Prabhupada, E.G. Journey to Other Planets. Anybody has read it?
They started.
They started. It talks about how we can go to that. He wrote when America claimed that they landed on the moon. So that time he said, no, it is not possible. Nobody can go in this same body to moon. Definitely you should have a suitable body for that. Or you should have certain yogic power or yogic perfection. Like Arjun went to the Indralok, heavenly planet, because he got the mercy from Lord Shiva to go there. So it's not that we can just go like that. We have to have some yogic power to go there. Not the scientific power. Doesn't work. So, whatever planet we want to go, if you worship that demigod, you can go to that planet. That's what it is said in the later chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Whomever you worship, you go to that planet. So every planet has souls. Every place has souls. Like in this room, so many invisible souls are there, right? In terms of virus, bacteria, and all that. So everywhere the souls are present. So these are all the qualities or characteristics of the soul we learned. So many characteristics, right? Cannot be many of them. You can list it out in a notebook, that how many characteristics. I have slides of that, but now there is no place to present, so I didn't show it. Any other reflections or questions? Yes.
So,
Mike.
what is the size of the soul, right?
It's gone.
Describe the size of the soul. So I was always thinking why it is so small, right? is it like in correlation to, like, if I have to give you a body of a certain size, like different sizes are there. I have to make the size of the soul, which is of the smallest body that I can offer. Right? The 84 million species that are there. Krishna might have thought, what is the smallest possible size of a body that the soul can decide? What size Otherwise, what is the need for you to make 1/10,000th of an atom like that, right?
Yeah.
So there may be some organism that is actually that small, which is just enough to cover that soul. And also, there is Paramatma also with this there's some more space. Right? It may very like material way of thinking, but I was thinking there's two souls always present. So no, I've not read anywhere the size of the super soul. Where it's mentioned.
It is mentioned in Bhagavatam,
Bhagavad-
first canto, about the size of when Parikshit Maharaj saw Krishna when he entered the world. So it's basically the super soul revealed to him, right? So he was, the size of the super soul was given the size of the thumb.
Oh, thumb, okay.
Yeah, but everybody doesn't have a thumb, all the living entities, right? So it is for us, it is the size of the thumb. It is mentioned there. But again,
so it can change, is what you're saying, but like depending on the
course.
organism that we're talking about, it can change.
Of course, yeah. Then how would be his inside the body, right? As you were saying, both the soul and super soul are in the body, whatever it is. A tiny, tiny bacteria also it has.
And also it was for the sake of protecting Parikshit. He was there. So he had to manifest in that size to
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, he just, that's mentioned for that, what Parikshit saw, but it doesn't mean that super soul size is a thumb size. Yeah. But he is inconceivable and he can change any size, right? Can be greater than greatest and smaller than smallest. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I think we are late for the chanting. Any last point? Otherwise, we'll go for the chanting. So you couldn't probably have to add anything.
Yeah, on the point that nothing can change the soul in the soul, as it's so tiny. If you just take a piece of wood and try to break it down, you can break it. But at your point, even if it is so soft, you can break even a piece of paper. So the soul is so tiny that nothing influences it. So that's a good point. Prabhuji also mentioned that 1/10,000 of the people of the world. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, this not, it's unchangeable means, not the shape of the soul can be changed, or the size of the soul can be changed, or the nature of the soul can be changed, right? It's always that Satchit Ananda, nothing else. The nature of the soul cannot be changed. But we act as per the body we are in. That's what it is said in the 15th chapter. That how a person is acting, or the soul is, inside the body, caged inside the body, and the body is acting by the mind entities, the ego and the five senses, and by the modes of intervention. Yeah, that's how everybody acts different, right?
When Mataji
Yes.
is saying, we can see that Paramatma's size is thumb size, then we can see, and the universe can see its function, and scientifically also it can be proven, right?
Yes, because a spiritual thing cannot be seen in a material eye, right? We cannot see Krishna, like Krishna is present here. Of course, when we're taking his name means he is present, right? Because he is not different than his name. So, but we are not able to see him because we are not that purified to see in our eyes. But Parikshit was that purified to see Krishna within him as the soul. He could see his body.
So it's not material size.
No, it's not material. Yes.
One more question.
Yes.
You said, for you, how the soul is not changing. You said it's because of the liking that you have. So what kind of liking are you actually talking about?
Like, I can say that in kind of food. Like what was my favorite food when I was small, like 4 or 5 years old, like from the time I remember. Till now I have that like. Yeah. So that I always think that, okay, that's I'm the same soul, not the same body.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
I'm
just my
thinking
interpretation.
From my perspective, am I the same soul, or whose I asked you what liking?
Yeah, especially the food, I can tell you. Yeah. But that's my interpretation. It's not written anywhere. Okay, we'll start chanting. Oh, my bead bag. Somewhere. Where did I keep my bead bag? My bead bag is outside. कहीं पे तो रखा है। हाँ, जगन्नाथ. I think on the Prabhu ji, वो counter में मेरा bead
Yeah,
bag
it's here on this table.
on the table. Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Like that, I kept it. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll chant the Prabhupada Pranam Mantra and Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Just Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
How do you feel after chanting? Peaceful? Anybody else?
Feel like chanting more.
Feel like chanting more. Yeah, feel like not stopping. How about you, Varun?
I used to only chant alone. This is the first time like I'm chanting with everyone loudly. So it felt really good to hear.
Yes. Yeah. The more you hear, the more you get the concentration. If you're not hearing means you're not getting focused on it. You have to hear more. Yeah. So we'll have the Damodarashtakam now and Nashim prayer and then Prasadam. We have to keep. So we are also in the middle of the Gita marathon, like every year, November, December. We distribute Gita all over, for the whole world. We have the goal of 4.2 million or 3 million, something like that. All over the world, that's our target by December 31st. So everywhere we are trying to distribute. Today we went to store by store and distributed to every store, like to the store managers. They were happy to accept it. And like whether it was many restaurants, spa, and like Thai restaurant, Starbucks, Subway, we distributed a Bhagavatam to the student who was working there. He's a master student. And Mahafresh, and then there was a spa, couple of them. No, all are non-Indians. Only that one Bhagavatam was Indian. Other than that, everybody was non-Indian. And there was a pizza party going on in a pizza store, the soccer league party. And all the parents were there, and one of the parents, he was American. He came to us looking at the books and asking, and then Prabhu explained Suresh Prabhu about Bhagavad Gita. So he accepted that, and also I said, okay, you are so enthusiastic to hear, why don't you take the Bhagavad Gita? He said, yeah, I want to try it. So he said, I was born as a Catholic, but I am no more a Catholic, I'm exploring what is the real thing. I said, then you should read this, what's the real thing. So like that, when we went to another store, that was a Thai restaurant, and that store manager said, "Oh, I'm happy. I get so many customers and who are vegetarian and Indians as well. You can keep here, and I'll give it to them." The Bhagavad Gita, even the Mahafresh, it was just all the Mexican ladies, but they wanted the books to display and give it to their customers. When we said this is the book, they would really like it and it will change their lives. They were happy to accept it. So many places like that where we distribute, we don't of course ask for money because we are asking them to help us distribute, right? So we take sponsorship. So either I would say you take some Bhagavad Gita and distribute to your friends, or if you want to sponsor, we can distribute like that more. So whoever wants to do that, please let me know so that we can you can be a part of this, marathon, the Gita marathon.
So we can distribute to anyone if they are not interested to read to Mataji, to our friends or something.
Yes. This is the best gift ever you can give. Shastra Dan, right? The best gift you can give is a gift of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, because that is really helping them eternally, right? For their soul, right? Not temporarily. We give some gifts, it's for this life. At least they give for the whole life. So this is for a few years or for this lifetime. But when you give Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, it is for their eternal benefit, right? It is for the soul, not for the body. So that's why we should give as much as Bhagavad Gita as possible. Thank you all.
1.1 million copies for this year.
For this year, it's 4.3 million. Last year we had 3 million. Yeah, like that. We distributed all of the books. And we have in all languages. So, in Indian languages, non-Indian languages, all the different translations are there. So you can get any of those.
And Krishna says, whoever brings my knowledge shares with others is very dear. So if you want to be dear to Krishna, just shoot up.
Yeah, that's what he says in the 18th chapter. That at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, that whoever gives this knowledge, that person is, nobody else is more dear than that person. He says to Arjun. So he says Arjun to share the knowledge with others. It's telling us also the same. Yeah. And that's the, I think, more happiness you get by sharing it, right? Sharing is caring rather than keeping it with us. Okay, we'll do Damodar Ashtakam. Who's going to sing? Leelanandini Mataji? Okay. You want to sing? Or you can, last time you sang, that's why I'm Leelanandini Mataji wants to sing Damodar Ashtakam. Then you can sing otherwise.
That's okay, Mataji. Our sings, we sing along with them.
Is she coming? Okay. Then you can sing National Prayer. Mataji, are you singing? Yeah, please. Body is
I have to remove that.
I have to remove also. We have the opposite. Prabhuji, हाँ, अच्छा और एक बाउल चाहिए जिसमें पानी में डुबा देंगे मेरा फोन वहाँ पे चल रहा है So everybody can offer the diya today because today is the last Saturday of Kartik. You can continue at your home until next Friday. But from next Saturday, we won't do that anymore.
मेरा इंटरनेट काम नहीं कर रहा
We kept the table
and then why did you put the diya?
Diya, they just kept few of them only, and people are taking turns.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay.
In this case, I don't know if it's too windy. I'll check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. You can do inside, but what
Yeah.
immediately what?
Yes. Just right outside the.
Huh?
You can put it on this one.
Yeah, but smoke plus.
One day also for us.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं यशोदा विलोकला Vrindavanam Paramritam Tato Drutagopya Yudantam Bhurnetra Yugam Vajantam Karambhuja Yugmena Shatapanetam Mushashakam Patri Rekam Kanta Sitavevam Damodaram Bhaktibhadam Iti Driksvalila Virananda Kunde Svahosham Imajantam Akapayantam Kariyeshu Bhaktaditatvam Punarpematasam Sataviti Vandri Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva Na Chanya Vrene Anuvaresha Devna Idam Teva Puranata Gopala Balam Sada Me Manasya Virasam Imam Idam te mukham bhojam atyanta nile Vitam kuntale siddha rakte shobhya Muhoshtam vitam bimbharatadharam me Manasya virasamaram dakshaname Namo Deva Damodar Ananda Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukha Dharati Bharma Kripa Drishti Vishyati Dinam Vatano Grihani Shamam Agyam Edyaksh Drishya Kuberatmajo Badhamurtayam Yadvat Vayamuchito Bhakti Bhajo Pritam Cha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Swakamya Gayacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodarena Namaste Sudamne Surati Damne Padiyodharaya Vishwajadame Namo Radhikaya Tvadiyaya Priyaya Namo Ananta Leelaya Devaya Tubham नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभयोलोकलाघवमानम् परामृशम् अत्यन्तोदृतलोका We are going to read the translation now. Jai Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe. Jai Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe. Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Daine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Tilatankanakalae. Tilatankanakalae. Ito narsimho parato narsimho. Yato yato yami tato narsimho. Bahir narsimha hridaye narsimha. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapade. Tava kara kamala varena kamadbhuta shringa. Dalita hiranyakashipu tanubringa. Keshavadrita nararigopa. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Tava kara kamala varena Dalita hiranyakashipu tanubringa. Keshavadrita nararigopa. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Tava kara kamala varena kamadbhuta shringa. Dalita hiranyakashipu tanubringa. Keshavadrita narahari rupa. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Nara Hari Jaya Narasimha Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Her Grace Ananda Vrindavan Mata ji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much everyone once again for coming. And today's cook is Dhanalakshmi Mataji. Where is she? She's somewhere. She made the prasadam. Thank you so much Mataji. And thank you all for all the help in setup and cleanup. Hare Krishna. Have a nice week. Don't be over. What's the prasadam prayer? We have to do. I said already. Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Tulpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasanaiva Jayate Sharira Vidyajal Jadendriya Tahe Kal Jeev Phele Vishaya Sagare तार मध्य जीवाति लोभमय सुदुर्मति ताके देता कठिन संसारे कृष्ण वड़ दयामय करीबारे जीवा जाए सो प्रसाद नदी लोभाई नहीं अन्नामृत पाओ श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम डाको श्री चैतन्य निताई जय निमाय जय निताई जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौरनिताय महाप्रसाद की प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण next week we'll have a because we are after the Kartik, the first day we are fasting from Urad Dal right now. So we'll break the fast from Urad Dal on the next day, which is Saturday. So I'm looking for volunteers for South Indian dishes. Like Hema is already doing it, but if anybody else wants to help, let me know. So it will be a South Indian feast. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
17.